Okay, let's be real for a second. We all know that feeling, right? The calendar invite pops up and you just feel a little piece of your soul pack its bags and leave. Another meeting. But what if I told you that most of the meetings we dread aren't just kinda boring, but are actually, fundamentally broken? Well, today we're gonna fix that.
All right, let's paint a picture. A picture I'm sure you've started. The meeting has no clear purpose, so it just wanders all over the place. It starts, 10 minutes late? Of course. One person completely dominates the entire conversation, and somehow it ends with the promise of more meetings to figure out what this one was even for. Sound familiar?
I mean, seriously. The last thing I remember, I was sitting in a staff meeting. Apparently, I died from boredom. This cartoon hits a little too close to home for a lot of us, doesn't it? It just perfectly captures that feeling of your life's precious minutes just evaporating into a pointless discussion. What if they could actually be productive and focused and maybe even, energizing? Well, the good news is they absolutely can be. It's not magic, it just takes a little bit of structure and, honestly, a new way of thinking about them.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the problem, the meeting we all hate. Then we'll redefine what a meeting should even be. We'll get into the essential tools, the key players, and finally, a super simple playbook to put it all into action.
So the very first step is a mental shift. A meeting isn't a punishment. It's not the default thing you do when you don't know what else to do. Think of it like this. It's a very specific tool designed for a very specific job. And if you try to use the wrong tool, you're just going to make a huge mess.
Let's just get back to basics for a second. The source material here defines a meeting as a scheduled gathering for a structured discussion guided by our chairperson. Now, the key words you got to focus on are scheduled, structured, and guided. These three things are the secret ingredients that separate a productive meeting from just, a chaotic conversation.
And that brings us to maybe the most important point of all. A meeting must have a clear purpose. What are you trying to do? Decide on a new strategy? Solve a really specific problem? Just get a quick project update? Look, if you can't say the purpose of the meeting in one single sentence, you probably shouldn't be having that meeting. Simple as that.
Okay, so now we know why we're meeting. Let's talk about the how. Every single effective meeting relies on two fundamental documents. You can think of them as the blueprint for what you're going to build and the final report on what you built.
It really is this simple. The agenda is your plan. It looks forward, it tells everyone where you're going. The minutes, that's the record. They look backward and they document where you've been and what you decided. And you absolutely, positively need both. An agenda isn't just a list of stuff. It's an incredibly powerful tool. It forces you to organize your thoughts. It lets everybody else prepare their own contributions. It keeps you on track with time. And maybe best of all, at the end, it tells you if you actually did what you set out to do. And when it comes to the minutes, clarity is everything. They have to be an impartial record. No opinions, just the facts. They should be clear, they should be concise, and totally accurate. So accurate that someone who wasn't even in the room can read them and understand exactly what was discussed and what was decided. This one thing prevents so much confusion down the road.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about the people in the room. A great meeting isn't a one-person show. It's more like an ensemble performance, where every single person has a specific and really important role to play.
The chairperson? They're the director. Their entire job is to keep the train on the tracks. They enforce that agenda, they make sure everyone gets a chance to speak, they bring each topic to a clear conclusion, and they make sure someone is officially taking notes.
Now, the secretary is like the producer. They manage all the crucial behind-the-scenes work. They get the documents ready beforehand, and this is huge, they own the process of writing and sending out the minutes afterward. This role is truly the backbone of any well-run meeting.
And listen, if you're a participant, you are not just a passive audience member. You have a job to do. You've got to come prepared. You've got to be on time and pay attention. Ask questions when you're confused and be ready to back up your ideas. Your engagement is absolutely critical for this whole thing to work.
Okay, so we've got our tools, we've got our cast of characters. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, the playbook. We can break down any successful meeting into a really simple 3-act structure. It's really that simple. Before, during, and after. Get this. Most of the work that goes into a great meeting actually happens outside of the meeting itself. If you can master these 3 stages, that's the whole secret to actually getting things done. So, Act 1 is all about prep. Is the room booked? Is the video call link working? Has the agenda been sent out to everyone? And, maybe most importantly, have you actually read it and thought about the topics? Getting this stuff right sets the stage for success.
Act 2. It's showtime. You've got to start on time. It's just about respecting everyone's schedule. And that beautiful agenda you created, stick to it. The chairperson facilitates, sure, but everyone is responsible for asking for clarification to avoid misunderstandings later. And hey, don't forget to pay attention to body language, too.
And finally, Act 3. Honestly, this is where the real magic happens. The minutes go out, so everyone has a record of what was decided, the tasks that got assigned are monitored, and crucially, you follow up on your own action items. A meeting without any follow-up isn't a meeting, it's just a conversation. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about the last meeting you were in. After everything we've just talked about, was it really a structured, guided discussion to solve a problem, or could it have just been an email? The answer to that question might just change how you work tomorrow.